Let's talk about bribery. I hear it all the time, and it's in popular culture. There's even a song, you know, where the guy bribes the guard to sneak out a letter, and then he uses the information to escape. Because everybody knows that all prison guards take bribes. And yeah, okay. Let's talk about life in a Supermax prison. If you sell your soul for a bribe of some kind, that's exactly what you've done. You've sold your soul to the inmates. That's really not even how most people in prison that work in prison get into trouble. Most of the time it's a lot more subtle than that, and prisoners know that, and all the prisoners that are now watching me on their cell phone in a cell somewhere, because I am aware that that's happening quite often now that I'm getting more popular. I seem to be popular with prison staff and inmates. So it's not as, what am I looking for here? It's not as blatant as, hey officer, here's $50, mail this letter for me. It's not really how it works. The way it works is they catch an officer committing a minor offense, not a crime, a breaking of the rules. He doesn't put cuffs on somebody. He lets them, oh, okay, well, you know, you want an extra t-shirt. Here, have an extra t-shirt. You maybe don't lock him in his cell when he was supposed to be, or he's supposed to do extra duty and you don't actually ask him to do the extra duty, and you just sign off on it. So you get sloppy, you get complacent. And what will happen is these smaller rule infractions, now he's got this hook into you. Then the next step is a bigger and bigger infraction, to the point where if you're female, he's going to get sex from you. That's the number one thing that all inmates in prison want from all females. That's just goes without saying. So every time you hear about a corrupt female staff, that goes right along with it. If you're male, they want drugs, weapons, extra privileges. They want more of what they can't have. That kind of thing. Now, what that does is that gives people like me the attitude that which you probably have detected if you watch this channel long enough, is it gives us a attitude that everyone is out to cheat you. And here in this place, it's really the case. I mean, here everybody is like, oh, he's a foreigner, let's cheat him. You know, and if you choose to believe that I'm completely lying and that this isn't what a coconut really looks like, then by all means, okay, I'm in the parking lot of the Miami Walmart, if that's what you want to believe. Go ahead. Fine. I get a lot of trolls that say stupid things like that, so okay. What I'm trying to get across is this constant defense against being had, against being owned by inmates, translates into an attitude which spills over into all aspects of my existence. So when I came to a third world country and everybody here is wanting a bribe or a take or something, they call it a raise. Give me a raise, man. What it means is I want something extra. Well, here all the cops want something extra. They're terrified of these cameras. They see me set up and all of a sudden all the cops disappear because they're compromised, and that's what happens to the prison guards. They get compromised, and once that happens, there's really no coming back. So what I did was I was a stickler for the rules. I didn't want to get myself into the situation where an inmate has some authority, some power over me. And if he ever attempted to do so, perfect example, I know a lady that accidentally brought her cell phone to work. It was in her lunchbox. She forgot about it. Inmates had access to her lunchbox and they stole her cell phone. And then, of course, you know, they said, hey, we'll give it back, but we want things. So she said, keep the son of a bitch. And she went and told on herself immediately, and that stopped the whole thing. They ripped the cell house to pieces until they found parts of her cell phone. And then we knew it wasn't working anymore, and that was the end of the whole story. And she did exactly what she should have done. Now, she was disciplined somewhat for the rule violation, but you know, accidents happen. But what the point is that she said, fine, I've made a mistake and I need to own up to it. And you own up to it and you take your lumps. You don't say, oh, well, I'll get out of that by doing this thing. And then that thing gets you deeper and deeper. It reminds me of quicksand, where you just sink yourself into stuff. That's how the guards really go bad. They don't go bad by walking in and say, oh, I'm going to take a $50 bribe from somebody. What they do is that they accept something, or an inmate does things an exceptionally good job. So you somehow are manipulated into feeling that, wow, he did this really exceptional job for me and he made me look good, so now I need to do a little something extra for him. So it's as simple as I bring in my McDonald's sandwich every day and I eat it, and one day I just don't want to finish it, so I throw it into the trash, my partially eaten McDonald's sandwich, and the inmate takes it. Now he's got 3/4 of a McDonald's sandwich that he has no right to, never has access to, and he thinks that's just terrific. Well, he does a really great job, so I bring in a sandwich, eat half of it, and put it in the trash every day, knowing that that's what he's going to do. And then the next thing you know, he can say, hey, this officer's been bringing in food for me every day. And you're going to continue to bring in food, except I don't want to eat half your sandwich. Now I want the whole sandwich. And oh, by the way, I need some fries to go with it. And I'm going to turn you in because you've been bringing in contraband to me, and I've got evidence, I've got proof that you've been doing that. And now I need something else and something else and something else. And the next thing you know, you're out on the street trying to buy marijuana for this guy. The same thing happened when I was a police officer. Oh, sure, officer, come on into our restaurant and don't worry about paying for the coffee. We'll pay for the coffee. No, I will pay for the coffee because I don't want to owe anybody anything. So, even when I was a cop and the police officers watching this video can identify what I'm talking about. Hey man, you can't write me a ticket. I'm the guy that always gives you the free cup of coffee every morning. Yeah. See, you just sold your soul. So that's why we have these attitudes, why we seem bitter and suspicious and don't believe anybody, because that's the attitude that I had to have to survive for those 23 years in a Supermax prison. Which brings up another point. In a Supermax prison, they don't have that guy that you were talking about in the county jail that didn't pay the dog license and he got locked up for 2 days. Met that guy in the county jail that I worked in, yes. He's not the drunk driver that ran over the child and now he's in trouble for a couple of years in the penitentiary. That's not who we're talking about. We're talking about the cold-blooded killers that have killed on the outside, have run big drug organizations ruthlessly, and have murdered people on the inside or run drug organizations on the inside of prisons, are linked up with large criminal organizations. That's who's in a Supermax prison. That's the guy that I was worried about getting a hook into me and flipping me over to work for them instead of the Bureau of Prisons. So when I talk about these inmates, I'm not talking about the guy that you knew when you were in the county jail. That's not the guy that I'm talking about. So, have you ever met an innocent person? No. Not in the Supermax prison. I met no one that even remotely resembled a person that was not guilty. They bragged about being guilty and that they were going to do more, most of them. I've had them say, "How much do you make, officer?" And then they bust out laughing. "Man, I made more than that my first week, and you just made that in a year." Okay, well, lovely, but you're locked up and I'm not, and I don't want to be locked up. What's it like to work in a Supermax prison? You know what it's like? It's a daily grind. I go there and I do the same thing every day. I try to go home in the same piece that I arrived in. I want my fellow co-workers to go home in the same pieces that they arrived in. I can dislike some of them to no end, but I rely upon them for my very existence sometimes. So, no, I don't like Joe. Jane seems to be a jerk, but you know what? Joe and Jane are going to be the people that come and save my butt when I'm in trouble. So, I'm going to do that for them. That's what it's like. And in a Supermax prison, I was in a physical altercation at least once a week. At least. And if we didn't have a physical altercation on our shift every week, by the second week, people started talking about what's going on, what's happening, how come, there's something suspicious. Everybody reads into it. So, yes, I was in a lot of physical altercations. No, I'm not Mr. Super Macho. I'm 5'9". I weighed 150 pounds at the most when I worked there. I just had to fight a lot. I had a lot of people with me that were in more altercations, much stronger than I am, much better able to defend themselves than I can. I was constantly learning new techniques for not only survival, but how to win a physical altercation. Just the way life was. I mean, that's the way it is. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, or you'd like to see some other ones, by all means, research the stuff that I've done and subscribe to get the new stuff. And hit the like button down there, would you?